I'm going to keep using this file in this scene to demonstrate a few more Maya and Arnold concepts with you. So I think right now, one thing I didn't cover so far is that, so we imported this cat in. We grouped everything, we scaled it up, and you can see in the transform node of this group that I've translated a few times in long X and Y. I've rotated it nearly 180 degrees and scaled it. And in the channel box, we have that exact same information. So this can generally isn't like a problem to have transform information, but I'm going to show you why this is a problem. So if I select my group, or I'm going to show you how it can be a little bit of a problem here. And if I right click my cloth shader and assign material to selection here. So the way I have some of these shaders set up, like the cloth and the skin to some extent, it's kind of procedural. So I'm trying to make your life easier so you don't have to UV anything here. But what you'll see is this doesn't look very good. Like the scale of the texture is kind of enormous. And what I'm going to do is to demonstrate is if I hide this and I show our, let me zoom in here so we can see everything. So this is the scale ref from ZBrush, that base mesh that I use to help you gauge the size of everything here. If I right click this as well and assign material to selection, and now to get rid of the faceting here, and it's going to be too distracting to see anything because it's messing with the lighting. Let's go up to the mesh window menu. I'm going to smooth it, and then I have it smooth, and now I think I can see the model better. So why don't we just zoom in a little bit more, and then you can see as you zoom in, you see that displacement map I have to create this cloth look. And if I hide this and I show the cat again, and obviously this is much larger here, and that is because of, you know, it's a procedural texture, and so I think what it's trying to do is calculate how to put that shader or that texture on the model as if it were really small, and then we're blowing it up, but it's keeping that same small original scale. So to fix this, with this group selected, I'm going to go up to the modify window, menu window here, and then we'll hit freeze transformations. And if you look over here, all these numbers, that will get zeroed out. And then you'll see that the mesh updates with the correct scale for the texture. So now I can just zoom back in, and then we can see that as the render cleans up, this is what we're left with. So that's a lot more what I'm expecting here. So make sure that after you scale your mesh up, that you freeze the transformations to zero this out, and then some of these other shaders will work a little bit more appropriately. Since we're on the topic of transforms and all that, let's talk a little bit more about the pivots. In the first video, I shared with you that to move the pivot, I can hit the insert key on my keyboard. We can move this up, and then I can hit insert to complete that, and then, you know, my pivot, this is my new pivot, right? Sometimes either your pivot will be in a weird spot, and maybe just instead of moving it, you just need to center it. If you go up to the modify menu and then go to center pivots, that will center that in exact center of everything in this selection. So you notice that you might expect this to go to the cat, but since it's also calculating the height of the staff, then the actual true center of all of these is right here. So this is particularly useful if I click on this sphere from the staff and hit the W. Oh, I think I had already set the pivot for this earlier, so that's why. But before, when I wasn't earlier in the scene, I think for some reason the pivot was up here. So of course, if I try to actually move or scale this around, that gets a lot harder. So again, that tool is under the modify menu, and then we can go to center pivot. And now I can scale exactly from the center. And that is that quick little tidbits.